Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show.
We're working with Eve today because she got really sensitive last time to her harness. And that's never happened with Eve. Something is scaring her about her harness.
Okay.
So we're taking a few steps back.
Okay.
Can you go look at Eve with your camera? We're putting the harness on one piece at a time, moving her around. We don't have Sadie here on this side of the pasture, which we usually do, because we're not sure if she's getting riled up from Sadie or from some feeling, careful the harness pieces, okay, from some feeling that she's associating with reactive right side brain stuff from her harness. We want to get so that we can drive her either singly or in pairs and not have her worry. So you see how we're slowly showing her one piece after another, watching her body language. The crouper's on, the surcingle's on. We walked her around, she was fine with it. Once we can be pretty sure she's going to be fine with the whole harness, we're just going to drive her here when there's no other horse in the pasture and make sure she's not afraid of any feeling she's getting from the harness. And then we'll see. We may be ready to bring Sadie back in, even just on a lead line. Is Eve afraid of Sadie? Is she afraid of something that she's associating with her harness? Can we get her back to being the reliable, my most reliable Morgan here for farming and harness work? So we're going to turn the camera back on when we're ready to move her. Yep, there's something about the brichen. Easy now. Easy, easy, easy. Shh, shh, shh. This is what she did. So it's not Sadie. It's not the collar. It's the brichen. Good, Eve. Do you want me to help, Katie?
Do you want me to take it off? Or keep
Yeah.
walking her?
If she stopped like that, let's take it off.
Okay. Then I would have someone come hold her head.
Okay, Kyle, you want to go hold her head? Right now, with my hip in the shape it's at, I can't be near a horse that might blow up like that because I can't move fast. What do you think, May? You want to try move again?
I don't want her to think that
Yeah.
out every time it's on is going to
Right.
take it off right away.
All right, let's try again. Well, you never know when's the best time to do things different. She's licking her lips. Easy now. It's all right, Eve. A lot of horse training is figuring out what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what they're seeing, what they're smelling. Oh, much better. I'm glad you said that, Katie.
Good girl.
Good girl, Eve. Very nice. She found out she survived whatever it was she was afraid of the first time. Now, I hope we don't go too far the second time.
Good girl.
Good girl, Eve.
You want to be done? Is that enough for you?
It's all right, Eve.
You're fine.
It's all right, Eve.
Good. Oh.
Very nice.
I'm just petting her where
Yes.
the brichen touches it.
Letting her know that she's giving us the right answer. She's obviously in a different mind frame at this moment. whatever it was that was in her mind last time, I hope it doesn't come back ever.
Good girl.
Now we're doing some small circles to see if there was something touching her somewhere. And then what we're going to do, assuming we get past this problem, drive her singly, drive Sadie singly. They've learned how to stay in pairs, head on head and parallel. They know that they're supposed to stay up with each other.
Did it just touch you?
So if we can, sometime in the next few months, put the cross-check reins on and drive them so that they're somewhat connected at the bridle with the cross-check reins. Because you see, if Eve had freaked out like that when she was connected to Sadie with the cross-check reins on, that sure would have freaked out Sadie. Could have been a wreck. And we try very hard here at Shadrach Farms to think ahead and avoid wrecks. Watch Doc Hamill's 2-part DVD about avoiding wrecks. He's had plenty himself in his years of working with harness horses. Oh, much better.
Come on, you can be done.
Looks like we're gonna quit for today. We're getting the right answer. We'll keep showing you
Good girl.
how we take a few baby steps in the backwards direction so that we can come back to the forwards direction of driving Eve in full harness. Off comes the brichen strap. We're hoping it doesn't touch her anywhere that she misinterprets. The question is always, how are they interpreting what might be scary to them? What's making them scared? Thanks, Kyle. Good. Brichen's off. And then we don't think we'll have any trouble at all, but we're not sure yet because we're just studying this situation. Crooper off. You see how good she is? Yes. No tension in her body. Surcingle off. We were doing this every day about 6 months ago with both Sadie and Eve, and then we started doing other things, and we got hit with winter weather. So we need to get back to having confidence in them and them having confidence in us. Here's our next session with trying to get Eve's confidence back. Something happened last week here in this setting. There was a drumming going on across the street. There's kids and bicycles. We were working with her and her daughter Sadie right here in front of the camera. And then something spooked Eve. We don't even know to this day what it was. And it was a little bit difficult getting control of her. As a matter of fact, she knocked me down, which is not a good idea because I have a hip problem that I'm working on getting fixed, but I fell on my left hip. So we've been real careful since then. We're not going to just go back to training where we were. We're stepping back in our training, back to the fundamentals, trying to figure out if we can get Eve's confidence back in herself, in her daughter, in us. There was one session a couple days ago where we put the brichen on her with her harness, and she spun around as if she were trying to get away from it, but much less than the session before, which we have on this camera, which we took video with, and it's on the show. So, okay, she's being much better. Angela, do you feel any tension?
There's a little bit of tension, but
A little bit. Okay. We watch body language, and especially the handlers or the riders can feel things that from a distance maybe you can't see. I was thinking of taking her over to our square pen and starting over with her harness training, which, we have shows from over a year ago that show her picture perfect with harness on, there and here. But that we had kind of a powwow and we said, no, the problem is here. It's this setting that we have to deal with. We are fenced, so we're not too worried about that. But if she does start getting right-brained, Angela and I are female with not a lot of muscle power, so I have two gentlemen here to help me, the cameraman Kyle and my handy person Everett, just in case there's trouble. Because a horse right-brained could go right through perimeter fences. These are white vinyl fences. We've had right-brained horses go right through them. We've got inner corrals over there that we can close the gates and take them into a smaller space, which we did the first time she freaked out. So, you know, that's an option today too. Okay, walk around again. Let's watch her body language. Her ears are back, like she's saying, I better listen around me. Now the brichen is on just like it was the last two times, so I don't think it's a tack problem. She's walking a little fast, isn't she? But she's a fast walker anyway. We've got her daughter Sadie and Sammy, my other Morgan, across the cross fence here. She knows they're there, but they're not here. They're not going to be running around here. I feel real good about that. I'd like you to take her back to her tie. We have ties that, in case a horse does get spooked, they're not going to sit back. They're clip ties. I'd like you to take her back to her tie. We're videoing her reaction. Okay, and clip her with her, tie her with her clip tie. And Angela, go get the collar and the drive lines. And Everett's going to help. Just take him over there. He knows to let the horses know he's approaching, and they kind of know him. We're putting the tack back on one piece at a time until we figure out if the whole package is going to spook her or not, or what part of the package is going to spook her. The surcingle alone didn't spook her. The brichen, the first time that we put it on with the surcingle, did spook her. But now you saw that she was good about the brichen. Now here come the drive lines. Those are leather lines. They're heavy. They're not biothane. They're heavy leather. And Everett's just going to hang around, say, here. We're not doing anything new. We've done this before many times in the last year. Now Angela's going to do what she has always done, to put this collar on. This is a collar that has to go over the head. So she disconnects the lead line. And again, if Eve gets out, we do have fences. But if she's totally right-brained, it's still dangerous. It's dangerous for us. It's dangerous for the fences, and it's dangerous for anybody who might be around this working area. Okay? How is she doing with the collar? Good. Watch her body language. You see how we put it on upside down because it's wider, and then we put it back. Okay, and then we have straps that keep the collar connected to the surcingle, so that if she does get her head down for whatever reason, the collar isn't going to fall forward on her head. So far, so good. She's listening. She may be listening to me, I'm not sure, but her ears are turned this way. Can you zoom in on that? We watch their necks, their mouths, their ears, their eyeballs, their legs, their ribs. Good. Okay. Now what I want you to do is just walk her around with the lead line.
Okay.
If she walks around just fine with this extra piece of tack on, bring her back here to the tie. And while I'm not prepared to walk around with her with the drive lines today, I do want to put them on. When she's not tied, we'll just have somebody holding her. I want to see if the whole package with the drive lines concerns her. Okay, now she might start zooming around, Everett, so be careful. She's licking her lips. Licking her lips. Is she? Oh, now she hears from the collar. There's some sounds. She's getting a little bit excited. Craig Cameron just did a thing about trailer loading a horse that was resistant to trailer loading, and he said, I make sure that all doors are fastened, that chains aren't jingling. The sounds alone can be very spooky. Yeah, it's flopping around, right? So is she relating that to what she experienced last week? Because she has heard those flopping around for a long time. You know, those are connected to tug straps, and we put tug straps on her last year. She's more relaxed now, would you agree?
Yep.
Okay, take her back to the tie.
Okay.
So not only are they making sounds, but they're touching her on her shoulders. But that's okay, we don't want to have to worry about anything touching her if it's not in an unsafe place. We want her to have confidence that she's not being attacked.
Real easy.
Okay, so now a truck just went by, and this is the dirt road with potholes. It made noises. She's okay on that. We don't hear the drums today. Could very well have been the drums that she heard and didn't understand. Okay, now Angela is going to, Angela, when you put the drive lines on in the past, do you usually ever tied?
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll just do that. Remember, this is a clip tie, so if she does pull back, she's not likely to sit back, which is a very, very bad habit for a horse to get into, and very often breaks the halter as well.
Do you want me to just go to the halter?
Just connect to the halter, that's right. We're not putting on a bridle. We're not ready to drive her, even with somebody at the head. Not today. We're doing this one small baby step at a time. And I'm still asking Everett and Kyle to be aware, be here in case we need intervention with strength. She's doing well. Watch her body. Yeah, she's blinking her eyes. She's not licking her lips, but her ears are going front and back. She's kind of trying to keep aware of what's happening. I think she's not sure what exactly is happening, but that's okay. She has to have confidence in us. This whole show is about figuring out what happened to her confidence. Why did she spook last week? And then we've got to do the same thing with Sadie. Although Sadie didn't spook, she just spooked a little bit and then collected herself. And then we've got to see if we can bring them back together again for pairs driving, ultimately with the cross-check reins and maybe also with the jockey stick on. That's what we were doing when all of this happened. Okay, her drive lines are on now?
Yep.
She seems fine. And you know, but we don't have the bridle in her mouth. And you know, it's really hard to decide every time you do these training sessions, where's a good moment of resolution, where's a good place to stop, can we go a little further today? But it's a nice warm day, you know, no wind, but I am so happy that she's being Firecrest Easter Eve, the eve that we remember, that I'm going to say we're going to stop today. Short sessions, frequent sessions. Also, now that the rainy season is essentially over, harness them up, take the harness off. Don't always make them work. Just get them used to the tack. That's what we were doing before the rain started, and then, you know, it's natural. You say, okay, it's raining, it's cold, it's windy, I'm not going to work them today. But at least the weather's on our side now. Eve is even licking her lips. Okay, that's all for today. Just a few minutes at our next session with Eve. We've got some garden tractor work going on next door. She's spooking a little bit at that noise. She shouldn't be. She's ranch versatile. She's lived here. We've been using garden tractors around here for a long time. But there's something about the harness now that has put her on edge. So we've got a rope halter on. We've got her bridle on. Kyle, who knows a bit about horses and knows Eve quite well, is just going to stand there. See, we don't have her tied up right now. It's time to come out in the real world. Now, Angela and Kyle are trying to calm Eve down. She's fully harnessed. She was a little bit iffy about the brichen again. Angela's going to go in the back with the drive lines. And you know what? We're not going to move today. We hope not. We just want Eve to get the feel for being fully tacked, to deal with her surroundings, to have confidence in us. Mostly, she has lost confidence for some reason. It's all right, Evie.
Yeah.
It's all right, Evie. We'll talk to her, watch her ears. She's blinking her eyes.
Good.
But you know, if we start moving and a garden tractor comes closer and she starts getting upset with the drive lines on, we don't want to deal with that today because we don't feel she has a full level of confidence in us. And for the same reason, we don't have a full level of confidence in her. And Eve, we've always had full level of confidence, and she's been driving for a year. So I'm showing you every step of the way how we're going to get her back to being a good farming horse. And that's all for today. Our next session with Eve. But look, we're in a slightly different place than we were in our last session. And our last session is behind the camera. It's the bigger part of the pasture. This is a smaller inner corral. And the reason we're in here is because when Angela, at the usual tie post, took the lead line off and put the collar on, which is an over-the-head collar, something spooked Eve. She had already gotten her surcingle, it's all right, Eve, her crooper and her brichen on. Was a little bit spooked by the brichen, went around a couple times and then stopped. But somehow putting the collar on got her spooked again. We're trying to understand what's going through Eve's mind because we don't really understand what happened when she spooked the day that she was standing next to her daughter, Sadie. She had this tack on. Sadie moved forward. Eve decided to spook. There was some drummers, kids across the street, something of that sort. And Eve got completely reactive right-brained and ran into the camera and into me. So we said, okay, we've got to take a few steps back. And a few steps back for sure is including repetition over and over and over again in small steps. Now, we got this, put this collar on, you see, and this thing makes noise. It's all right.
Good girl.
It's all right.
Fine.
But okay, noise is also spooky. We've got to keep getting her desensitized again. It's all right. Oh, look at those. She's bug-eyed. You probably can't see it, but she's bug-eyed. All right, now I can't move real fast because I still have a hip problem, and I am scheduled for a replacement on my left side on July 2nd. Today's May 26th. So I'm just trying to stay in a safe place where I can't get knocked over again. Because the last time when Eve did knock me over, I landed on my left hip. Okay, so we're in the smaller corral, and Angela is going to be real responsive to Eve. Yeah, shake things. Yeah, like I said, we don't know if it's the noise, the feelings of the brichen all of a sudden upset her because something happened that day. We hope we're going to get our most reliable of all harness horses back to being reliable. And we're going to show you every step of the way, because it's going to take a lot of repetition. Okay, now, I'm kind of in the wrong place here. I'll tell you what, I've got a mic on. I'm going to walk over there and be on the other side of the fence. Angela's going to just try to walk a few steps forward, and if she's doing good, you're going to say ha or gee, and you're going to just make some medium-sized circles in this smaller corral.
Good girl, Evie.
Okay, whenever you're ready, Angela, you're in charge.
Okay. Evie, step up.
It's all right.
Good girl.
Tell her it's all right.
Walk.
We're going to watch for the signs of
Good girl.
relaxation. Her ears are back. She's certainly watching me. She doesn't understand why her mommy's way over here.
Easy. Steady. Oh.
Good.
Good.
Good. Now, there's nothing wrong with the way we have that tack on. All of us who have been doing this for several years with Eve have looked at it. So it's nothing different than what we used to do. It's just something that is being perceived differently by Eve.
Step up. Good girl.
Very nice. Do you sense that she's being good?
Yes.
All right, then here's what I want us to do. Let's stop the camera. And Scott, will you go get the pair of drive lines? Last time when we worked with Eve, we put the drive lines on, but we didn't move.
Steady. Oh,
And we were out in the big pasture. So let's see if we can do that safely and comfortably today. Okay, we've got one of the drive lines on. Scott's holding the lead line. We're all looking for signs of relaxation. We're seeing it, but that can change in just a moment. We're in the smaller corral. The wind and the cold is unseasonably different. It shouldn't be this cold and windy today, but it is. So if we choose to move, in spite of the weather, it will be a careful choice. Weather has a lot to do with training. When you're training something that isn't solid.
good job.
Okay, so we're feeling okay. Okay, now take the lead lines, the drive lines. You see, they're long. If Angela drops them and they end up around Eve's ankles, that's going to make the situation all the more dangerous. All right.
Good girl, Eve.
Good girl,
Good girl.
Eve. Good girl. Now the question is, do we want to move? We got this far last time, but we're in the inner corral because we were concerned about her behavior out there in the wide open spaces. There's 3 of us. Let's make a majority rule choice. Angela, do you think we should try to move?
I think we can go maybe 3 steps.
3 steps?
Yeah.
Scott thinks so too. Now, 3 steps could mean that she hears something or feels something.
Actually, maybe not. She's starting to get a little buggy.
She's starting to get buggy. You know what? The wind is coming up. Yes, there's a horse behind her. And we're not usually working back here close to that horse. I'm glad that you changed your mind. Because my vote, and that's why I didn't vote first, would have been, hey, let's just accept this as a small baby step, a good moment of resolution. Let's work our way up patiently to actually driving with Eve again.
Yep.
And then someday, we hope, maybe not soon, maybe later, yeah, we want to drive next to her daughter, Sadie. And in the meantime, we've been doing other things with Sadie, but we are going to work with Sadie individually too, before we try to have them drive in pairs. And that's all for today. This is Sonia Sokolow, the urban cowgirl and farmer.
See more at www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.